Horror was going through some growing pains in the early 2000s. Pallid children living inside TVs and the attic were all the rage, holding a firm, odd grip on our collective psyche thanks to remakes of popular Japanese films like The Ring and The Grudge. Popular American cinema had kicked off a new era of horror imports, both for easy money and the good, albeit old, ideas, leading to a hot injection of what were already tropes across the world into anything and everything. Video games had to have a piece, right? Why not put one of these pale kids in a hyper-violent Spec Ops shooter, eh? Sounds like a derivative dumb idea, but it worked out splendidly. Monolith Productions, one of the most beloved PC FPS developers, the creators of Blood, No One Lives Forever, Alien vs. Predator 2, clearly wanted to prove they still had FPS chops after a big Warner Brothers acquisition, and Fear was the result. Bizarre mix of Max Payne's bullet time and pop Japanese horror tropes, and wearing the 5 o'clock shadow of a grim military shooter, Fear did the trick, lacking the sheer variety in encounter and level design from Monolith's older shooters, but making up for it all with some of the most decadent, messy, and loudest firefights the genre had seen yet. Also, ghosts. What I love most about Fear is how seriously it takes itself as a horror game. Straight-faced, no flinching. Most horror games cast the player as a fragile dork, but Fear gives you an assault nail gun and the ability to slow down time. So to make up for all that power, the supernatural threats need to feel a little extra supernatural and threatening, so Fear overcompensates in the best ways possible. In the opening minutes, you watch Paxton Fettel, Fear's villain and psychic leader of an infinite army of secret police meat puppets, chow down on some guy's belly. As part of Fear, first encounter Assault Recon, yet another batch of secret police, your goal is to kill that guy. But a psychic cannibal commando isn't the only threat. Alma harries your nighttime water treatment plant corridor, walking by leaping around in the shadows, dashing across distant hallways, giggling and whispering all the while. It's nothing particularly novel for a spooky kid, but that stuff's potent the first time round in a 3D interactive context. She's a ghostly jump scare machine, but a damn good one. The animalistic animation of the vent crawl gives me chills just to imagine, and I love that first ladder scare. But when I think of Fear, the recurring blood hallway is what comes to mind first. Take a bit of The Shining's flooded blood elevator, a dash of medical horror in 2005's best lighting and reflection tech, and you've got yourself a scene that will, bare minimum, make a 15-year-old circa 2005 feel very uneasy. Today, it's pure kitsch, but Fear's surreal horror interludes were a rad, technical showpiece that made a bundle of horror cliches look better than they ever had in a game before, and without breaking the flow. And even if Fear's book of scares is pretty thin, all those jump scares are just training you to take it slow and peek around corners, because whether you spot a couple replica soldiers or a goddamn ghost, Fear encourages and rewards a cautious, tiptoed approach. Even now, I'm peeking corners to get the jump on enemy soldiers and the jump on jump scares both. But whether you get the jump or not, Fear's firefights are still unique among PC shooters. Arenas are typically open spaces, uncomely offices, or generic industrial noise, strung together by tangled hallways connecting multiple levels, every inch packed with clutter. Physics, objects, and textures ready to burst like confetti from the torrential horizontal rain of bullets, or bounce around violently from the concussive blasts of grenades and proximity mines. Fear's environments aren't particularly novel or great eye candy, but the wireframe and sameness and enemy AI do a lot of work here. The dark, maze-like arenas are the foundation of Fear's percussive combat loop. It goes like this: silence. Someone fires the first shot. The scene erupts into gunfire and pandemonium that you navigate using slow-mo, itself a decadent visual flourish and vital tactical advantage. You take out a guy or two in that initial bout, then you dip out, stealthily reposition if you can, and find a new vantage for another burst of action and violence and slow motion. Until then, silence reigns again, tension builds once more, and another quick round of psychic, meet puppet cats, and first encounter assault rodent plays out. It's absolutely thrilling, even to this day.
Search everywhere.
And even when you make it through Fear's toughest firefights, dust hanging in the air, a sliver of health keeping you alive, explosions still ringing in your headphones, a little ghost girl is waiting on the other side to eat your goddamn soul.